Welcome to today's episode of The Layover. Today we're talking to a good friend of mine by the name of Tiffany. I've been following Tiffany for about a year or two on Facebook, and she's been to over 60 countries. The cool thing about Tiffany, too, is she's a female solo traveler, so you know she has plenty of travel tales to talk about. Currently, she's living in Singapore, but we're going to bring her on and she's going to talk to us all about her trips, her travels, when did she fall in love with travel, where she's originally from, how long she's planning to be in Singapore, and some of the other do's and don'ts about solo travel. Welcome, Tiffany, to The Layover. Hey, Tiffany, what's up?
Hey, nothing much. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm good. Just winding down my Saturday.
Right. I guess I should say how you doing this evening, especially where you are in the country. Oh, I'm sorry, in the world.
No, that's okay.
Well, look, I'm glad that, you took time out of your evening to jump on here and talk to me about your travels. We're going to talk all about Tiffany's travel tales. But before we get started, before we get into it, it's customary on the show that I like everybody to kind of shout out all of their social media platforms, just in case someone hears the show and they want to get back in touch with you. So, and I'll give you some time at the end of the show as well, too. But if you don't mind, just go ahead and drop all your social media stuff for me.
Oh, goodness. Let's see. Of course, the Travel Junkie, Tay Travels, No Madness. Those are probably the main ones I still follow right now. Have not been really following social media as much lately.
Well, how can people find you on social media? Like, do you have an Instagram? Do you have a Twitter? Stuff like that?
So I'm still kind of old school. I mainly just use Facebook. I do have a Twitter account, but I mainly use that for reaching out for different complaints, honestly, when I need things escalated. But for the most part, I'm usually only using Facebook.
Right. Well, that's cool. Like I said, Facebook is still a great tool for people to connect all over the globe. So, that's a good thing. But again, I'm glad you came on, and I just want to kind of jump right into it because I know it's late where you are. And like I said, I appreciate you being able to take some time out your busy day to jump on and talk to me. So I just got to ask off the top, Tiffany, I see you, and I've been knowing you via social media, and you and I have been going back and forth for a good little minute. So I feel like you're my sister in travel, no doubt. So I know a little bit about you. So, but tell the listeners, so where are you originally from?
So originally, I'm from a small town called Lima, Ohio. So I always represent Ohio big, but the years that really matter for me were in Saginaw, Michigan. So I kind of rep both locations equally.
I got you. So Sag Nasty, in other words, right?
Yes. Can't forget about Sag Nasty. But again, if I have to pick and choose, I always go back to home, which is the Ohio State.
Right. And for those that don't know, Saginaw is like it's a small city in Michigan. It's kind of like outside of maybe 2 hours outside of Detroit or something like that. Not too far from Lansing, Battle Creek, stuff like that.
Yeah, about 30 minutes or so from Flint. I think most people now heard of Flint in the news.
Yep. Okay. So from Lima, Ohio, but you reference Michigan in terms of your formidable years. So I just got to ask you, when did you first fall in love with travel?
So sometimes I have to kind of sit back and think about that one. People who knew me in my military days would probably accredit the military. But honestly, when I was in the military, I still wasn't traveling. I was stationed in Italy for 2 years, and the schedule I had really just didn't afford me that much time to travel. I spent most of my free time sleeping. So again, as I kind of look back and think when travel really started to take off for me, I would probably say about 2011. I signed up for a timeshare. And from there were so many locations up and down the East Coast. I was in Fort Lee or Richmond, Virginia at the time, and just really started trying to visit as many locations as I could. And then from there, I said, well, let me start taking cruises. And then from there, it was like, okay, enough cruises. Maybe I need to take some international trips. So again, I would probably say about 2011 is when it all really started for me.
Okay. 2011. All right, cool. So since 2011 up until now, how many countries have you been to?
So I would say my last count, I'm about 60 countries. So I still have a long ways to go.
You are doing good. I'm at like 53, 54. So 60, you are doing damn good.
But I will preface that with I know some travelers prefer to take their time a little bit more than I do. I kind of map out the main attractions I really want to see, and then it's nothing for me to maybe try to see 3 or 4 locations in a week and a half trip. So I tend to move sometimes a little faster. So that
Right.
may attribute to the higher number.
So, I just got to ask this though, since you've been to like 60 countries, what was the best place you've been?
Ooh. Who I would probably have to go with Cape Town. Cape Town, South Africa is by far my favorite. I give it, I guess, the title, if you will, because that's the one place without hesitation I would move to and I would live there permanently if I had a choice. So, yeah, Cape Town is top on my list.
Man, I love Cape Town. Like when I took that Cape Peninsula tour, and you know how you drive from like the city, Cape Town, what is it, Gatong or something like that? You drive all the way down the Cape down to the bottom Cape of Good Hope. Man, when I tell you that was like probably one of the most beautiful roads I've been on, where you can see like the Brothers Mountains, you can see the ocean and all of that good stuff like that. Yeah, Cape Town is it, man.
I love it. Good food,
Yeah.
good people, culture, the historical sites to really understand the history. I just love Cape Town.
So, they got this fly restaurant in Cape Town, right? Now it's all like they have different locations all in different countries, but it's called Burger and Lobster. Man, have you ever been to that place?
I have not. It sounds good.
Man. Look, next time you go to Cape Town, you have to go to Burger and Lobster. That place is like right downtown Cape Town. The food is phenomenal.
Well, thank you for the recommendation. I will definitely have to check it out.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. So, so I know you mentioned, like I said, 60 countries, and then you talked about some of your favorites, and you talked about like how you like to be on the go a lot, when you're going out. So, it kind of segues into my next question. So, do you kind of prefer solo travel or, traveling with a partner?
If I had to pick, I would go solo travel. And kind of the reason being is my job, or at least the job I had, I should say, afforded me a lot of time off. I used to be kind of on a 2 week on, 2 week off type rotation. And I would find when I invited my friends or loved ones, they did not have the same flexibilities at work. So they would either want to go and later not be able to go, or just knew up front that they couldn't go. So I found myself just going ahead and venturing out and taking the trips. And then it really got to the point where I enjoyed kind of the time to find myself, to disconnect from the world, to challenge myself. So I do like solo travel. There are times when I do like having family and friends with me, but for the most part, I enjoy my solo travels.
I think that's how most people kind of fall into the solo travel because it's like, like you said, they'll have some type of employment or something like that where they have so much flexibility, but your friends don't. So it's like, your friends may just have a weekend off, whereas you get, like you said, 2 weeks off or a month off. So it's like, hey, I want to go somewhere. But then you don't want to wait on everyone. So it's like, you know what? Let me just book it and go.
I agree. And I say if a
I mean,
bucket
because,
list is a thing, if you will, sometimes the people you travel with have a different bucket list than you. They want to see some different places. They may have already been where you want to go, or vice versa.
right, right, right. Because I've been following you for like over a year on Facebook. And when I tell you, your trips are phenomenal indeed. And I'm like, yo, this girl gets it in and she is all solo. I love that, because it kind of helps me sometimes when I'm talking to other young ladies or other women about travel. And hey, you can travel. There's plenty of places you can go by yourself. And sometimes I even refer back to places that you've been, when I'm talking to women, be like, oh yeah, you can go here. I know you can go there by yourself because I got friends of mine that do it all the time.
I appreciate that. Definitely so.
Oh, indeed. So do you think it's like some type of negative stigma attached to like female solo travelers?
Personally, I do. Again, I think kind of when you think of a woman, you kind of think of the safety aspect, if you will, that perhaps it's a little more unsafe for a woman to be out in the world. And not even out in the world, it could still be in the US, just out traveling alone. Anything can happen from a car breaking down to people with bad intentions, the stories you see out there in the news. So, I know usually when I'm out traveling, everyone's like, be safe, be careful. Are you sure you want to go? So I would say there's definitely, unfortunately, a negative stigma about female solo travel.
So have you ever had like any issues with any countries you've been to since you travel solo a lot?
No issues, honestly. Perhaps, I mean, if I had to kind of think of anything, I may have met flirtatious men, not in an aggressive way, flirtatious. Um,
Right.
I kind of think of Morocco, but they're known kind of for being a little more aggressive in their markets, really just trying to sell you things. But no racial type incidents, nothing really out there. But again, maybe for me, I don't do a lot of nightlife. I try to, get out early and usually book tours through companies. So I'm usually doing my out and about time pretty early, and then I actually enjoy picking a resort or a hotel where I can usually spend my evenings just relaxing.
Right, right. And it's funny you mentioned that because like I travel solo, quite often too. And there used to be a time, Tiffany, where it was like, yo, I had to do the nightlife. Wherever I'm going, I'm trying to find like the hottest nightclub or where everybody hanging out. Now, like you said, I travel, I get out, I book my tours during the day, whether it's a walking tour or whether it's like tours by local, where I get out with like a local person and we'll hit the streets and go places and all of that stuff like that off the beaten path. And by the time I get back to my Airbnb or my hotel, shoot, I'm beaten. I'm like, I'm good. I ain't got to go nowhere.
Exactly.
you know? Right,
Yes, as you know, some
right.
of those tours they'll pick you up at 4 or 5 in the morning. It might be a 10 or 12 hour tour, so I completely
Yeah, no
understand.
doubt. You know what? So when you're in Bangkok, they have a tour of Siem Reap. They'll take you over to Cambodia, and like you said, they'll pick you up about 4 or 5 in the morning,
Wow.
and you're on a bus for like 5 hours going from Bangkok over to Cambodia.
Wow.
And some people just can't take that. I remember one year I went to Greece, right?
Mhm.
So I went to Matoria. But in order to get to Matoria, you got to catch you can drive or catch the train. So we caught the train out there, and it was like a 4 hour ride from Athens out to Calabaca. But when I tell you the train ride was beautiful, man. And then, after the 4 hour ride, we arrived in Calabaca. Then the company picked us up, took us out to Matoria, and it was like probably one of the most beautiful cities you will ever see in the globe. And it's kind of tucked away, and a lot of people don't know it. But like you said, man, you get them tours early in the morning, man, but and then they'll have you back to your hotel about 6, 7 in the evening, so you're beat. So I ain't trying to go to no club. Now there are some places though that I go where you just got to get out, like Bangkok, man, you got to get out. Hong Kong, you got to get out.
Amazing.
So like I said, tour, you still gonna want to get out there. So I get it what you're saying about being relaxed and tired after those tours, and so sometimes you don't want to get out. So I get that part. So do you think it's safe to travel solo as a woman, like pretty much anywhere, or is it like some places where you're like, I don't think I should go there alone?
Hmm. So there's places, honestly, I think of like, would I really want to go? I kind of call them the stands, if you will, the Afghanistan, Pakistan, Tajikistan. I mean, not that I would never go, but again, kind of being ex-military, being in the federal government, the briefings we get, the spin on it, if you will. So it requires me to do my own research, to reach out to resources or people who's already been in these areas and get their experiences, if you will. But the places I've been, again, I feel totally safe for the places I've been. I don't have any stories to share that they weren't safe. But I would think anywhere a person goes, it's really about trying to be as mindful as you can about your surroundings and doing research in the area. I mean, not just the safety aspect, but really trying to learn the cultural aspect to make sure you know the rules and regulations where you're going so you don't find yourself in trouble with the law. But again, there are some
Right.
places I have to do a little bit more research, but again, I'm only about 60 countries in out of about, I think, 260. So I'll slowly keep kind of checking off my bucket list type locations. And then once I get
Right.
to
Right.
the last ones left, if you will, then I'll start making decisions. Are they places I want to go? But hopefully, again, by then, I'm pretty much a free spirit that I would hope that they would still be on my list of places to go one day.
Yeah, I definitely dig that. It's funny you talk about the stands because I got a couple of friends. They actually just went to one of those stands. I think it was either Uzbekistan or something like that. And they had an awesome time. They said men over there, when it came to like approaching the women, they weren't mad aggressive, but they just were real cool and all of that. And then they even talked about going back for like longer periods of time. So, but I get what you're saying about the stands, like Pakistan. I don't know if I'd go again, but it's some other places I made it's another place that I didn't want to go, but I kind of want to go now, and that's Yemen.
Oh.
So we've always heard the stories about Yemen and how bad it was, but Gabak, I follow him too, and he went over to Yemen and spent like a good bit of time over there, like maybe a month or something like that. And he did this promotional video that was awesome, man. And then just kind of following his travels. Now I'm on board. Like I want to go to Yemen now, so I get what you're saying. Sometimes, you just got to do your research, and sometimes it's sparked by looking at somebody else's page or pictures. And then, like I say, you just got to do your thorough research and think about it. So I get it.
Yes, I'll definitely be following your
So,
travels if you do go to Yemen, as I follow all the other travels you have thus far.
Well, I appreciate you following. And I got, like I said, 53, 54, but I got a ton more lined up, to go. So just keep up with it. You'll see me. I'm on that road to 100. I'm going to be there soon. So check it out. So with all your travels, I know like right now, you're not even in the States. Right now, you're over in Singapore. So how did you end up over in Singapore?
So this was an assignment. I work for the federal government, and I recently just completed a leadership program where essentially my employer is allowed to kind of assign me anywhere in the world they want to. And honestly, I didn't fight back when they told me I would be coming to Singapore. I was on board with it and very happy about this assignment. So I got here in October, and I should be here for a 3-year assignment.
Okay, 3. So you got 3 years over in
Yes,
Singapore.
indeed.
Okay. So are you loving it over there so
I
far?
am actually, other than the heat. So it's very humid over here, but I kind of knew that before I got stationed over here permanently. I came out in August to do some turnover. As far as, again, the culture, the people, the food, I'm a foodie. So I love the different kinds of food from, Malaysian food, Chinese food, of course, Singapore. They have their chicken rice and some other local specialties. But I mean, you get all kind of food here. So I'm definitely enjoying my time so far.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I love Singapore. Like, when I was there, I was hanging out probably like every night down there over on Erskine
Yeah.
Street. And, it was a huge eye opener when I went over there to the Marina Bay Sands Hotel. Man, those drinks over there, they like 20, 25 bucks. I was like, I can't do this.
No, the drinks are very expensive.
I mean, it's a nice spot. It's a nice view when you go up top and all of that. But those drinks, man, you got to be a
Well,
baller
I would say
indeed.
you're definitely a baller. So I've been to Singapore 3 times before I moved here. I've been over here about 6 months, and I still have not been to Marina Bay Sands. I've been to Raffles. I've had the Singapore Sling there in different places, but I'm building my way up to go to Marina Bay Sands one day.
Oh, you're going to love it when you get up there and check out that view. Indeed. Indeed. So listen, so I just got one last question, So you're over in Singapore, you got a 3-year assignment. I know you've been doing a whole bunch of traveling since you've been in Singapore because, it's easier to do a lot of traveling when you're already abroad, going to other places and stuff like that. So do you ever see yourself or do you ever plan to return to the States? Or are you going to become like a full-time expat?
So I think probably if you would have asked me this question in December, I probably still would have been sold. I just want to see the world, sow my royal oats, and just kind of stay out of the U.S. But unfortunately, what we're
Right.
dealing with now with the coronavirus and really kind of bringing things in perspective a little bit was more important for me. So again, in December, it was all about exploring and seeing the world. And then I could always come back to my family and visit. Well, now I can't come back to my family. I've missed 2 opportunities where I should have been able to fly back to the U.S. And that just won't happen because of the virus. For me now, I'm in a place where I would rather be in the U.S., even though I'm not living in Ohio or Michigan, but somewhere in the U.S. where I can hopefully get to them much faster, much easier, and then still be able to travel the world, if you will. So honestly, I think once my 3-year assignment is up, I definitely want to return back to the U.S. But my love for travel, I hope and pray will still continue, and these places will be here, and I will continue to catch flights and catch deals.
Right, right. And you're right. We're definitely in an unfortunate situation with the whole coronavirus gripping the entire globe right now. So you're absolutely right. But and I think you touched on something too that was important. I think anybody that has that love for travel, don't let that flame extinguish because of what's going on with the virus. Because like I said, there's still beautiful places out there, and there's still a ton of
I
things
definitely
to
agree
see.
with that.
Well, Tiffany, I really appreciate you, like I said, coming on and telling us something about, something about Singapore life and how it feels to be a female solo traveler and some of the places that you've been. I definitely got to get you on another episode so we can talk more in depth about some of these 60 countries you've been to. Because I'm like, man, 60 countries. I know what it takes to get to 60 countries. So I know you got a lot of stories and travel tales, AKA Tiffany's travel
Yes, I
tales.
definitely, I look forward to having another conversation.
Right, right. But before I let you go, like I said, I'm gonna give you a minute again. Like I said, I know you dropped all your social media stuff up front in terms of the people that you follow, me being one, things like that. And just another opportunity, just go ahead and tell everybody how they can get in touch with you on Facebook and all of that stuff
So
like that.
Facebook, I'm under my real government name, Tiffany Herring, or you can find me under, yeah, government
Not the
name,
government.
or email address, sasha.fierce83@yahoo.com. Don't judge me. But again, that's my main platform. Again, it's Facebook. And again, you message me, I'll dialogue, I'll respond back. Always interested in hearing everyone's travel experiences.
All right, Tiffany. Well, I appreciate you talking to us and joining us here on the
Thank
layover
you.
and get
Take
you some
care.
sleep. All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Bye bye. Whew, and there you have it. Tiffany has been all over the place. This girl has hit 60 countries, mainly as a solo female traveler. You heard it from her. I mean, she does all of her stuff on her own in terms of bookings, traveling by herself, all of that good stuff. And she even dropped a couple of spots where it's hella safe for a female to go by herself. And she's currently living in Singapore right now. So there you have it, folks. Life of a solo traveler from a female's perspective. If you like what you've heard, please check out more episodes at my website, www.thetraveljunkie.com. And there you'll have access to more content, more blogs, video clips, and planned group trips. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Layover podcast so you never miss an episode. The Layover is produced by me, the Travel Junkie, and you know my mission here to connect travelers from all over the globe, whether you're seasoned, solo, or a novice looking for insight and information. Thanks, and I'll see you next time on the Layover.